So we're going to cover cleaning in this session. So it just really depends on what kind of deep down into the rabbit hole you want to go with the cleaning. You can do as simple as not clean it. Next thing you could do is you can get some brushes and you can kind of brush the dust off, toothbrush, get those really small components and circuits really good, making sure that they're nice and clean. And also, all right, so besides using just a brush to clean it, you can also use compressed air or pressurized air. If you are going to be using compressed air, it's highly recommended that you get a dryer inside in line with the compressor. That way you're making sure that no water gets underneath the components, because compressed air actually will accumulate water. From there, we can also do a washing. So you can put this into an ultrasonic cleaner. You can also make that multiple stages as well. But if you're just doing like a basic ultrasonic cleaning, you just want to be wary because there is a chance that it will come out not working. So just keep that in mind. But for this example here, this one's pretty corroded. So I'd probably at least want to give it a wash and take a good visual inspection on it, see what components might have came off. So that way it'll be more easier to work on. With the ultrasonic cleaner, you can use different kind of solutions. You can have different stages. Try to help keep some of your other solutions cleaner a little bit longer. So you can use even as cheap as, Simply Green, or get some more professional solutions. You can also make sure that you're using pure water. So it can either be distilled water or deionized water. You just want to make sure that you're actually using the proper water. You don't want to just use tap water. You'll end up destroying your board. So from there, you can also put it into an ISO bath. So you want to make sure that it's 99% isopropyl alcohol. You can also make sure to finish it off with some pure water. And you just want to make sure that you're using these kind of materials to prevent damaging your board. Yeah, so when you're doing the cleaning, first thing you can do is brush off all those hard dust bunnies off with your basically a paintbrush or toothbrush. Then you can take your air and you want to blow out all the main dust. That way you're not getting your solution super dirty. Then you can take it from there, set it into a wash. So you can use either just pure water, you can use pure water with the solution, put it into an ultrasonic. You can also use different ultrasonics for different stages, like helping to address corrosion, helping to address flux. Just really depends on exactly what you're trying to tackle. You can also put it into like an isopropyl alcohol bath and then take it out, put it into some more pure water, that kind of thing. That way it kind of dries a lot easier. From there, you can also then put it into a dryer or a drying room and make sure that it's, a little above room temperature and you have airflow. That way you're trying to get rid of the moisture underneath the actual components. So when you're doing the consolidation and cleaning process and you're taking hash boards out, you want to make sure that you put them back in the same slot and everything like that. So just make sure you're taking really good notes or have a platform that you can use to scan the different serial numbers and whatnot. As a matter of fact, some of the older units, they used to make it so that way all the serial numbers would match. So the serial number on the power supply would match the control board, would match the case, would match the hash boards, and all three hash boards would have the same exact serial number. So you can always like mark on them, this one was 1, 2, this one was 3, that kind of thing. You just want to make sure that when you are turning on the control board for the first time, after you flash it with the SD card, that you do have the control board not connected to the hash boards. That way, if you accidentally, this was like a 17 firmware, you don't want that running on these hash boards because then you might have to go in and reprogram the PIC. So one thing I always like to do is talk about safety first. We are working with a lot of dangerous equipment, from things that get really hot. We are working with sharp items. We're also dealing with electricity. So it's very good to be mindful about that kind of thing. There's lots of equipment that we can use, from anti-static gloves. We can also wear some safety glasses. If we want, we can also wear a face mask to prevent from the flux fumes and stuff like that. Another thing you can have is we have these grounding cables, although it's very important to state that most of this equipment that's meant to protect is not to protect you, it's to protect the equipment. So especially if you're working on like power supplies, which I wouldn't recommend doing until you have a full understanding of electronics and you actually have a tutor or a mentor that can help you walk you through it, making sure that you're not doing anything wrong. Because power supplies can be dangerous. They can blow up on you. They can shock you so bad that they can literally stop your heart. So talking about the grounding cable, you just made yourself ground. So if you accidentally touch right here with your left arm, and this is right here grounded, that's going to end up going through you, essentially could go through your heart and out to ground. So just be very mindful. Same thing with working with the hot equipment. These heat sinks can stay hot for a very prolonged period of time. So just be mindful that you don't want to touch that kind of stuff. And then same thing with sharp items. We do have like razor blades, stuff like that. So it can be really easy to cut yourself. Just be very mindful of your equipment and what you're doing. It's always good to have as well like a fire extinguisher on hand. A lot of things that other people don't do is like have an AED on site, especially if you have a bigger facility. This stuff can be dangerous, so it's always good to be having all the safety precautions ahead of time. First aid kit's probably another thing that you probably want to make sure you have as well on hand. So now you know how to do all of the cleaning and intake of the units. Now we're going to go ahead and get into more of troubleshooting and diagnostic of the actual unit. From there, we're going to go into diagnosing and repairing the hash boards.